And we've actually experimented with a lot of brands as well. For example, we thought, okay, vodka is a commodity. It's a commodity. It's white, it comes in a bottle, people put it with, horrible sticky drinks, and that's it. So we decided to come up with our own brand of vodka called Strictly Vodka. It was made in Liverpool, and blind taste it won them all. It was a molasses vodka. It was 37% proof in our pubs. We bought 1,000 cases of it, I think. We had 1,000 cases manufactured. I thought this stuff was 20% cheaper. We pass this cost saving on to the customer, and maybe some of my friends in the pub business will also buy it. When we opened Cafe Bardelli, we decided that the wine in Ireland really was a sort of a luxury commodity. It was, it had all sorts of connotations, your culture, your this, your that, the other. We said, we want to change that a little bit in our restaurants. This is a cheap restaurant, cheap wine. It's not to be tasted and sniffed and all the rest of it. It's just this is not a gourmet experience. This is not for foodies or winies. This is just to wash your food down, like the French do. So we called the first our own brands of wine, Vino Collapso. The internet is great. We have websites for all our units, and we're very active in running them. We have 20,000 unique users in a month, which I think is extraordinary. But what it can do is we can market. If you like, for example, one of our brands, Eden. If you like Eden, you might like to go to the Odessa Club. So, because the ad for the Odessa Club is on, we have to match our brands to what we think the customers like. Staff seem to like our units. They actually go in themselves. So, quite often in Dublin, for example, on Wet Tuesday night, we will be letting maybe 200 people off a shift. They got free access to reroll. They go dancing in reroll. They generate an atmosphere, and the whole thing becomes, without being explicit about it, a great big sort of happy family. So, because pub sales are down by 20%, it's carnage. Pubs are closing, pubs are changing, habits are changing so quickly, it's unbelievable. And yet the leisure spend is still there. This to be aimed at a slightly older demographic, because we see all capital bars, Zanzibar and all those bars, they're aimed at the under 25s. So we said, we think there's no place for the over 25s. We're going to offer food, we're going to offer wine, we're going to have a big wine list, we're going to have half bottles of wine. And now, in fact, we have a little unit on the counter where we have 6 bottles of wine. You can touch them, you can feel them, and you can get a glass of any type of wine you like. It's cheaper and it's better. The million this year is unbelievably successful. We caught that demographic. We caught that older person. There's no music in the place. I mean, the pub trade was astounded, and he's not putting any music in. I said, well, you can't hear if there's music on. Well, we're all getting a bit older. So, it was a building that, in fact, was the first Bewley's. The building itself was built in 1894. It was a dining room in 1894, and it was next door to the Globe. And I consider that bit of George's Street mine. I've been there the first, and I wasn't going to let anyone buy it, so I bought it. Let's do what Ryanair did. Let's offer, food cheaply, good food, to people in a Ryanair type way. I mean, when you get in a Ryanair, you get in a Boeing. When you sit in the Cafe Bardelli, get a seat. It's the same thing. You don't have to spend 300 quid in a seat. You can buy Bentley chairs for 42 euros, is what we did. So we opened a 6,000 square foot restaurant for 220,000, which is absolutely rock bottom. Successful that we think that it's the first thing that we've opened that bears repetition. So we've opened in Ranelagh now, and we've opened in Cork, and we've got the site now in Galway and Limerick, and we're going to try and make a brand out, It's Bewley's in Grafton Street. I think probably because we had already bought a Bewley's, the one at George Street. We were invited to partner Campbell Bewley Group into Grafton Street, and of course it's a very big project because of the history of Bewley's that's so well associated with Ireland. So we took the Cafe Bardelli concept and we put it behind the Bewley's brand. We also introduced another brand, which is Mackerel, which is a fish restaurant in the James Joyce room. Our coffee is very good and our training is very good. So it was interesting, the mesh of brands. I don't really have the answers to that, but I can only say that that has been a hell of an experience. And of course, from my own point of view, I feel extremely privileged to have been offered that opportunity. It really is a once-in-a-lifetime chance, and it was one that I just, as a romantic, I couldn't refuse it, She has where we can offer a fresh experience, an experience that's a lot of fun. Going to be some spa treatments, some outdoor pools, it's going to be a lot of fun. We did some market research on that because the banks made us, but our market research told us that Even people who are young don't mind spending quite a lot of money as long as the experience is good. Our target market is Dublin and Dubliners who want to go down in the car. It's 40 minutes from the city. So again, you know, the old business laboratory, we haven't a clue. If it fails, we'll be doing 4 weddings a week, you know. If it succeeds, we'll be doing none. But I think it's curious that the design is very often the thing, the story, the myth, that starts the ball rolling. And that's why when I talk about something like Berlinter, I talk in such passionate terms about, you know, what it is that we're putting into this house and where we're not, there's no big head office, it's all flat, everybody knows everybody, no one wears a suit, it's just little, and we're going to keep it that way for as long as I'm still in business.